Most of us think we get money. You earn it, you spend it, maybe you save a little. Seems pretty straightforward, right? But what if I told you the whole system is built on a mathematical puzzle that, by its very design, can't be solved? Let's dig in.
Okay, to really wrap our heads around the massive global economy, we've got to start small, like really small. So just imagine this with me. You and 10 other people are shipwrecked on a remote island. You're going to need a way to trade, right? To build a little society.
And let's say you're the clever one. You build a little printing press and you create the island's first currency, 10 shiny, gold-colored tickets. You hand one to every single person. Perfect. Everyone has one ticket. The total amount of money on the island is 10 tickets. Simple.
But then, you drop the bombshell. This wasn't a gift, it was a loan. And you tell them, in 1 year, I want my ticket back plus one extra ticket as interest. Suddenly, everyone owes you 2 tickets. So the islanders get to work. They're fishing, building huts, trading their tickets back and forth. A little economy is booming. But it doesn't take long for someone to do the math and realize, wait a minute, there's a problem here. A huge problem that no amount of hard work can actually fix. And here's the riddle. If there are only 10 tickets in existence on the entire island, how can the group possibly pay you back 20? The answer is they can't. It is literally impossible. The only way out is for them to come back to you and borrow even more tickets just to pay the interest. Now hold on to that thought, because that little island riddle, that's the blueprint for our entire modern financial world. That little impossible problem is the key to understanding, well, almost everything about our economy. So let's leave the island now and scale this idea up to the real world. We've got to start with what money actually is, because it's probably not what you think. So here's the first big mental leap you have to make. Money today isn't really a thing. It's not backed by gold, it's a promise, a ledger entry, an IOU. See, almost every single dollar, euro, or yen is born as a loan, which leads to a really wild conclusion. Money is debt. I mean, think about it. If every person and every government paid off all their debts tomorrow, poof, the money supply would just about vanish. Let's make this real with something we all know, like a mortgage. You get a $400,000 loan for a house. The bank doesn't get a truckload of cash from a vault. Nope. They just type the numbers 400,000 into your account. The principal is created from nothing. But here's the kicker. Step 3. The interest you have to pay back, which could be hundreds of thousands of dollars, that money is never created. It just doesn't exist, just like on our island. So what happens? Well, it turns the whole economy into a giant game of musical chairs. For you to get the money to pay back your interest, you have to get it from someone else. That money was part of their loan. So for you to win, someone else has to lose in default, unless the system just creates even more debt to make more money available. Right about now, you're probably thinking, this sounds totally unstable. A system that needs more and more debt just to stay alive? And you know what? You're right. So why on earth would we build a system like this? The answer is one very powerful, non-negotiable word: growth. I love this analogy because it's so perfect. The system is like a shark. It has to constantly move forward, or it sinks to the bottom and dies. This constant creation of debt is what fuels that forward motion. It pulls value from the future into today, allowing us to build and spend now. But the cost is we can never, ever stop. So let's just look at the 2 possibilities here. In a growing economy, new debt is always being created. That new money is used to pay the interest on all the old debt. It's frantic, but it works. But if the economy stops growing, the music stops. People can't find the money to pay their debts. Defaults skyrocket. Banks collapse. The system doesn't just want growth, it requires it for survival. And this isn't just about our mortgages and credit cards. Oh no. This applies to the biggest corporations, the most powerful governments, to the entire planet, really. We're about to take our little island problem and see what happens when the whole world gets trapped in the same loop. Okay, get ready for this number, because it's a lot. If you add up every single piece of debt on Earth, from governments, corporations, and regular people like us, it adds up to about 330% of everything the world produces in a year. Let me put that in plain English. As a species, we collectively owe more than 3 times the value of everything we will make, due, and sell this entire year. We've essentially borrowed from our children's future and our grandchildren's future. And just like on that island, there will never be enough money in the system to pay all that debt back. So if we know the debt can never be repaid, why hasn't everything just exploded? Why hasn't the house of cards come tumbling down? Well, because the system has a very clever built-in escape valve. It's a kind of hidden tax that keeps the whole machine from grinding to a halt.
So imagine the weight of all this debt gets too heavy. It's just crushing. At that point, the system really only has two ways out. It comes to a fork in the road. Path 1 is default. It's messy. It's a complete catastrophic collapse of everything. Think global depression. Not fun. Path 2 is a lot quieter, sneakier. You just devalue the money itself. You make every dollar, every euro, worth a tiny bit less every year. And what is that? That's inflation. It's not a mistake, it's a feature. It's how you manage an unpayable debt load without everything blowing up.
And this is where it hits you, personally. You ever get that feeling that you're working harder, maybe even getting raises, but you feel like you're just running to stay in the same place? That's it. That's the system devaluing your money in real time. Your debts get a little easier to pay off with these cheaper dollars, but your savings, your wages, they buy less and less. You are not imagining things. You're on the treadmill.
So all this brings us to what you might call the end game. This incredible juggling act between debt, growth, and inflation, it feels like it can't go on forever. So what actually happens when the tempo changes and the music starts to fade?
I think a great way to picture our economy is to think of it like a beautiful, magnificent kite. It's soaring way up there, a symbol of everything we've built. But what we tend to forget is what's holding it up. It's not gold. It's not anything solid. It's flying on the tension of a single, fragile string, our shared belief that we can keep growing and keep borrowing forever. And that leads us to the one last unavoidable question. The math tells us this infinite loop has a limit. The game of musical chairs can't go on for eternity. So when the music finally does stop, and we all scramble for a chair that might not be there, who do we think is going to be left standing, holding the final unpayable bill?